Hello, everyone. Whoa, there we go. Rich Carlton, welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I'm here cleaning my glasses as we prepare for a very busy week. Welcome to a day of FMTrain.tv. I'm the creator of FMTrain.tv. Let me hit the magical button over here. 1, 2, 3, press the button. Here's the upcoming broadcast schedule for those of you wondering about such things. Today is Nick Hunter, and then we're going to say goodbye to Nick Hunter for 9 days. And then he'll be back, right? I always have to say that. Greatest condolences for Nick. And then he'll be back in 2 weeks. So yeah, so Nick is not too involved with what's going on starting tomorrow, but he will be here momentarily then the next week. If you want to support the channel, and that way Margaret and Nick can be paid, I would prefer to pay them in real dollars, not Monopoly money. We encourage all of you to purchase one of the training bundles. It helps keep the lights on. We greatly appreciate it. So, no, Nick is great. I'm glad he's here. I just want to clue everyone in. So we got the schedule coming up. You're going to want to make the show or make sure you get the recording. Nick, what are we doing today? What are we doing today?
Exports from a container and import from a container on server.
Really? Okay, so that's an interesting thing. We ran into that inadvertently with Calvin. Calvin helped me with that with something, and then the commands were slightly different. If you had what kind of server? You running a Windows server today? Or you would have
it's a Windows server. Yeah.
I want to check on that. Yeah, so that's a good one because it's one of those sort of things that's really useful is to have the server create the PDF and drop it in the container for you or something like that. You can do an export, but actually having it doing server-related stuff in general. So, yeah, very exciting. All right, so Nick, we're going to transfer command you. I'm going to stop sharing. Nick is going to start talking about things that matter, that we care about. Okay, and then I'm going to turn control over to Margaret.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for everybody for this new June series, right? So we're in June now, so almost the summer. So today we do something interesting that I never did that. So it's the first time. And like I said before the show, is that just building that sample file took me 4 hours. Okay, so to build it. I built it from scratch because I couldn't extract from any other solution because it's too complicated. So I wanted to narrow down, make something simple for you, and then we can understand what we do. So what are we doing here? We are going to play a little bit to export and import stuff from a container, right? And so export from a container and import to a container, but everything on server. Nothing will happen on the machine. Everything will happen on server. Okay, well, that's a problem. So we have 2 problems with the server. First, when you use server, and you let me create a new script here. So when you want to export on server, so here you have a compatibility filter for your script steps. For example, what's compatible with Macintosh, with Windows, on server, on iOS, with FileMaker Data API or FileMaker Web Direct. So let's filter for server, for example. Okay, so I'm going to filter this. So if I filter this on server, we have 2 problems. Exports field content doesn't work on server, right? So you can see here because it's grayed out. If I remove the filter, it becomes black, but it won't work on server. On server, it's deactivated. Doesn't work. We cannot export field content from a container on server. So pretty much we cannot do this. Export field content from a container. We cannot do that on server, right? And other problem, imports, insert, all the insert file from, all of those things doesn't work on server, right? So insert file, if I use this to insert something in the container, so to use this, insert picture, insert file, insert PDF, all those insert stuff, insert PDF doesn't work, insert picture doesn't work. All those insert stuff doesn't work. So how we can deal with this if we, if I want to do that. So for example, like Rick said, like the bot said, you generate a PDF on server, which this works, I can do save as PDF on server, or I can do a save as Excel on server. No, Excel, no, sorry. Excel doesn't work on server. It's just for patent issues, but I can export record, on server, right? I can save PDF on server, right? And I can export record on server, right? And then from there, you can export, whatever you want. So export record, we can save, but export field content, that means export this, the content of a PDF, I cannot do that. Okay? So that being said, what we can do for this, okay? So let's say I have this PDF, right? It's how to troubleshooting or, or whatever connection, something I picked up from internet. So I have this PDF on a container, right? And I want to export this on the hard drive on my server, right? So I want to export this on the document folder on the server machine, right? That's what I want to do. So how can I do this? Okay. So let's blank this for now. So I can do this using a plugin. So we have no other choice to use a plugin. There's many plugins that do that outside, but I like the BaseElements because it's free and it works pretty well. So we have a plugin that can do that for us, right? But that's the reason, like, I start using plugins, right? I use BaseElements. I use what's the name? Monkey Bread, right? Mostly for the dev tools on Monkey Bread, but BaseElements I'm using pretty much to export a field content, to do this, right? So how it works? Let's say I want to export this container to the server, right? So of course, if you want to do this, it needs to happen on server. I cannot say export on server, right? What I need to do is to run a PSOS, a script on server, that go to that record, right? And export it on server. So that's why I'm collecting the ID, right? I'm collecting the ID of that record, right? Oh, I don't have the ID, so this will be a problem. So I need to put an ID here. Hold a second. Yeah. I need to put an ID here. So let's put an ID. Oh, I have it. So why it wasn't showing? I don't know. So why it wasn't showing? I don't know. So I have the ID. So I have an ID here. I can even show it on the screen, right? So let's do this. Let's put the ID of the file of this record. Let's put the ID on server. On screen, sorry. So that's the ID of this file. Oops. So I have this ID. I need to do this. So the script will collect the ID. I send the ID on the PSOS, right? And the PSOS go to that layout, look for that ID, and then I get into the record. Then this is my technique, and I love it because it allows you to know what is going on. You set a variable with the file name, right? Then you set another variable with a directory, which is where to go, the document path, for example, right? So the file we go are on the document path on server, okay? And then I'm building the path completely. And then I'm setting that field here that just for you to show you the path, how the path will be built, right? And then I'm using the plugin commands in a variable. So you set a variable, you name it, you can name it the way you want, okay? You set a variable, and just by setting the variable, the plugin will understand what to do. The plugin will export the field contents. So using this BaseElements export field contents, right? So you get it from, all the BE, all the BaseElements, what's the name, function here, right? You have one name export field content, right? Should be here. Export field content is there, right?
Yep.
This one. So using this, you need to say which field, which container you want to export, the field, you point the fields, and then you say where to export this on server, right? So to build a path, this is a trick, right? BaseElements use the path, but you need to remove the first slash that this will return. I am on the Mac, so on the Mac, this will return something different, right? On the Mac, it will return this, right? But BaseElement, you need to remove that character. For BaseElement to work, we need to remove that character here. Otherwise, it doesn't work. We need to remove this. That's why I'm using this command, middle. This is what I want to remove. I start to the character number 2 and the number of character, whatever, right? So that eliminates the slash because I'm starting, right? I'm starting there. I'm starting on the number 2. This is number 1. This is number 2. I'm starting here, including it, okay? This is what this do, right? I start from the second, including it and there. So now I have the right here, right? I have the right directory like this, here, middle directory 2, no. So I do this, and then I'm adding the file name. So this is what I want to export. I'm exporting on, this is on the server. This is not on the server. This is on my machine, right? But on the server, I will have wherever the document path is. Oh, I put the desktop here. Let's put the document to be, okay. Okay. So whatever the document folder is on server, and then the name of the file. This is what I'm doing here, right? That's why I have the name of the file here, extracted, right? Extracted. And then I can use it. I can use that field with the field name and use it here. So just an aparté, why I'm extracting the file name and I don't use directly the container here. Why? I'll show you why. When you have, if I look for this here, this is okay. This is fine. I can do this. But if you do this, that means you put this on the open storage, on open storage or secure storage, if you do this, this is what you get. Okay, I transfer. Okay, boom. So now those containers are external. They're no longer into the FileMaker file. They're no longer on the FMP12 file. They are external. Okay. So if I look for directly for this is what I get. I get this. That's cool, right? But it's no longer something I can use directly to get the file name. This is not the file name. This is not the file name, right? So that's why FileMaker, right, did this. You have the get container attributes, right? Which field you want and what the attribute you want. You want the file name, and then that extract the file name, right? So you get the file name. No more all those stuff, that you get on the remotes when you're on the remotes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Marge, you want to say something?
Oh no, I was just agreeing. So letting you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's why I like to do this. I have a field where I'm extracting the file name directly on the auto entry calculation, right? So each time I'm putting something there, I get the file name for free. Then the file name, I can use it on my scripts to export the file on the hard drive, right? Using this technique. The file name, where you build your stuff, right? And then you save, you create a variable, you set a variable, whatever the name, using the BE export field content function, right? You say which folder, which fields, and where. You take this, the variable, and you put here, right? So let's see how it works. So if I click here, so now, right now, my document folder on server is empty, right? Is empty here. I have nothing, right? If I get, I have nothing. If I export that file, boom, now this file has been exported on the server, is there, it is on the server, is located on C, program file, FileMaker Server, data documents, and troubleshooting PDF. This is where the document folder are stored on that server, okay? But remember, I told you I removed from the directory, I removed this here, this slash, in order that the plugin can read it, and this is what the plugin is reading, right? That's why I'm setting this field here with the path, then you can see it, okay? So now this file is on my document folder on the server, right? So I can do it again with this wonderful picture, right? So I can export that. So I have now on my server, on the document folder, I have the troubleshooting PDF. And if I export this, now I have the Golden Gate and this one. This is what I get, right? So I have two files now on my server. They are now, right now, on the document folder on the hard drive of my server, okay? They are exported. So how I can get this list on the document file, on the document server, right? On the document folder list on server. How I can do that, right? So I have a PSOS, I have a script that's pretty much, so I perform a script on server that says, okay, go to that table and set the fields, right? Set the fields with the get documents path listing. This function will automatically go on server, right? And look the content of the document folder and get you the list of what inside. That's why I'm setting that field. I'm setting that field with the list. So I can, if I, so I know what inside that folder right now. So now, so that's that easy, right? That easy. So just what you need to know is when you export, you need to extract this slash. Otherwise, it's very easy, to use that plugin. You export the field content in okay. Of course, what I can do, I can say, okay, I can delete that. I want to remove that file from server. I don't want to delete it. I want to keep I don't want to delete the record. I just want to remove that field, that file. I want to remove it from the server. So that's why I built for you this remove file button, right? So you say, okay, are you sure you want to remove from server, right? So you say, yeah, I want to remove from server. So you click here and then boom, it's gone. It's no longer on my server, it's deleted. I can go there and I can say, hey, do you want to remove? Yes, I want to remove it. Boom. So now my folder is empty. So how we delete something, remove whatever, right? So of course that works with a P source. So I grab the name of the file I want to remove, right? I want to remove that file. So with the file name here, I get this file name, right? And then I say, okay, I have a dialog that says, do you want to remove, blah, blah, blah. And if you say yes, remove, you have a P source on server, right? You have a perform suite on server, okay? I'm getting the file name. I'm setting which directory I want to go, which is the document path. And then here, I'm building the path. So why I'm doing this? I have the file prefix here, because we have a delete file function now on FileMaker, right? And FileMaker needs one of those paths to delete the file, right? It needs this one, FileMac, FileWin, one of those, okay? So to know if it's FileMac, FileWin, I build for you a custom function that do that for you, okay? So that's why I have this file prefix, right? So on my computer, that will return FileMac. I'm on Mac, okay? Then you can add the get document path, and then you can add your file name. So that builds a complete path where what type of machine, the directory where it's located, and the name of the file. This is easy to use to get this done, because it could be FileMac or FileWin if I'm on a PC. The server will return FileWin. I'll return FileMac. Okay. So then you go where the file is living, and you delete this file on server. Delete file deletes the file on the hard drive of the server. I don't delete the FileMaker record. I'm deleting the file that is in the server. When I export this file, now is on the server, physically on the server. The server did export field content and then went to the document folder and export it, right? And now I want to remove that file from the server, from that document. I want to delete it. I want to remove it. So this is what I have to remove, and boom, now it's no longer on the server. I know it because this returned empty. Questions so far?
Got it. Now I think this is making sense so far. Do we have any questions, concerns, comments, people?
Okay.
What is the prefix for Linux server? I don't know.
It will return FileWin.
Oh, okay.
it will return FileWin.
Interesting.
I think FileWin or file. It could return file. You have, if you look this, you know, if you look this, it might do file this one on Linux. Okay, it might do this, but you know that's why, you know, it's I know that my custom function works on Linux. I tested it, so you know, because we don't have any, the platform will return -2 for FileWin, right? So, oh, anyway, this will take care of all the condition.
Mm-hmm.
One is Mac, -2 is Windows. Yeah, don't ask me why -2. It was from the time or where, you know, it was like you have a -1 that was for what's the name, DOS, Windows 3. I don't. They had a -1 and -2, and now we don't. We have only a -2. They didn't want to change that because it will have broken. You know, so you have 1, -2, and 5. Okay, so this will take care of. Don't worry. This custom function that you have here on the file, you just use it. It works on Linux. You don't even have to think about it. Okay, so that was an export using the base element. Very simple. But now I want to do something else. So let me export those. I export this, and I export this. So now those two files are on server, right? They are on server. What I want here in this table, I want to import the file from the server. So I want to do the opposite. So for example, I have this file here, this file located on the hard drive of my server, and I want the server to insert that file into a container, create a new record, and insert that on the container. Pretty much I want to do this, insert file. That's what I want to do, okay, on server, which is not allowed. You know, remember, it's not allowed. You know, if I'm on server and I want to insert file, is not allowed. I cannot do that. Okay. So, but I want to do it. So you import. I want to insert that Golden Gate bridge.jpg in that is located on the hard drive of my server. I want to create a record and insert here. Boom. And so now I have a record, and this is now in the container. And I want to import this PDF, right? So I'm doing this, and I said this file on my server, I want to import it. Boom. Right? So I did the export and the insert into. So how we do that? I don't use a plugin for this. So you see, for example, here it said FileWin. Why? Because the server did it. The server inserted that file from C, program file, FileMaker Server, data, documents, but with the FileWin prefix, right? Because it did it on server, okay? So how we do this? I don't use plugin for that. I use strictly FileMaker. You say, yeah, but how I can do that if the insert file doesn't work? Yeah, we use another one, right? We use this one, insert from URL. Okay. So how we do that? Okay. So we have on FileMaker. So I'm using the same kind of technique to build a path to go there. Right? So first we set a directory. then the file name, which, let's do like this. First, we set the file name, then the directory where, the folder where we want to go. And then we need to build two paths, two, not only one. Okay. I mean, first, I'm building a FileMaker pure path. FileMaker pure path. This one. This is the FileMaker pure path. That was this is what file prefix like FileMaker FileWin gets document folder, the document path, and the file name. This is what it returns, which is pure FileMaker stuff. But insert from URL doesn't know to read that. It doesn't know. It will return question mark. It cannot use this. That's why FileMaker invented a new function for this that said converts from FileMaker path, right? You say, okay, I want to convert that FileMaker path into a URL path. That's what becomes. So you see what happened here, right? It builds a URL path with the encoding for the spaces, right? So this command does that for you. If you want to do it on your own, that means if you want to transform this in this, right? Without using this convert from FileMaker path function, good luck. You need to extract this FileWin, right? And replace with file. Then you need to replace this slash by 3 slashes, right? And then you need to do the %25, %20. You need to replace all the spaces by this kind. So it's a pain, right? You understand? It's a big pain in the where. Okay. That's why we have convert from FileMaker, right? Path. So we have different paths. I think we have POSIX path 2, or we have different paths, but the one I don't want this to be a webinar about this for now. I can do a webinar for this, right? But because this is a big, it will be hard for me to set up something like this because I need to have a different type of servers and stuff like this. So it's hard for me to put myself in the condition. But for this, for the necessity of this webinar, of this action of inserting inside a container or a file inside a container from the server, right? This is how you do that. Okay. So not very complicated. I set FM path. I'm doing this just to show you. It's just for the demo. You don't need to do that normally, right? Just you do the. I don't combine this in one, right? I don't combine. I don't say path. I don't build something like this, for example. I don't do this, which would be the same. Convert from FileMaker path, the path, and then the URL, path. Like I don't do this. Why? Because this helped me debug when you have a problem. First, you check, is my FileMaker path is correct? Yes, it is. You can check it. So you can do the same technique I'm doing here. So don't forget, you do that on server. You have no way to see anything, right? So that's why it's good to set a field, and then you can see, okay, for that file, this the path I got for the FileMaker path. This is the URL path I got. So you can debug. You can see where the problem, one day, I remember I was trying to insert a PDF file, and I name it incorrectly, and I name it CSV, and it didn't want, right? Because the file wasn't existing. You understand? So having this is a good thing to debug if you have problems. Okay. Right. So, and then you will use the insert from URL, right? So you say, okay, the targets. So I want to insert inside this container, right? And the URL, which is the URL path, and don't check this, okay? So, and this inserts the file from the hard drive of the server into a container. Pretty much this do the insert file, which doesn't work, correct? So do we have any question? And do you guys knew about this?
I definitely didn't, but I've never worked with this before. Anyone in Discord know about
you
this?
knew it? You knew this?
Oh, I didn't know anything about this. No, this is completely new to me.
And who knew that on the just to know?
Top Cat was saying that's new. I don't know about the other Discord people. I assume they'll type. Yeah, David didn't know he used OpenWrite on server. So
Open what?
OpenWrite.
What this?
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but that sounds complicated. So
Yeah. I like
Mike's
this
never
technique.
used it before. Yep. Sorry, go
So
ahead.
I love this technique because we stay in FileMaker, right? For example, so now if we don't have any questions.
No, I think we're good. Yeah, people are saying this is really new, especially on the server end, because they've never used these on server in particular.
So you will say, okay, why the hell I want to do that? Well, I will show you. Let's say let's delete those. I want to import contacts, right? So let's do this. The old good way. I want to import 500 contacts. Okay, 500 contacts. I want to 500 small, tiny, ridiculous contacts, right? And I want to do that in my local machine, right? So this is what it takes. 500 ridiculous contacts, right? Yeah, I import this.
God forbid you have thousands of contacts.
So just to let you know, I'm dealing with 17 million contacts, and I have 162 fields, to import. So it's not the same story. That means if I do it locally, I did a math, it will have take me 17 million contacts. It will have take me 2 months to import the contact locally. 2 months. Doing this on server, I reduced that in 98 minutes. Correct? So that just to let you know. But the problem is, yeah, but how do I do that on server? So I need to put the file on the server, open a folder on server. But we don't want to do that. We don't, right? No. What I want to do, I want to get there, create a new record. I drag my 500 contact CSV file here on a container, right? On a container. And I want to do this. Boom, they are there. and it's not fake. Delete. I have 0, correct? I have 0 contact here, right? Here. They're here, right? So it's instant. It's like import, boom. It took me 15 seconds locally.
That
right?
was a much improved speed.
So that's why it is interesting to be able to get in you drag on a container a CSV, right? And you do the server technique, right? Which is the piece that says, okay, I get the file ID. That means here I have a file ID, right? So let me put it again, the file ID here. The same ID, oops. The same ID here. Okay. So I have this ID. This record where I put the CSV file, the container. This is the ID. I'm gathering this ID on server. So this here, I'm gathering the ID. I'm sending this to the server. I'll talk about the callback later. I go there, pieces, I'm exporting, I'm using this script. I'm getting the file ID. I go to that table. I look for that ID, for the record for that ID. And then I do exactly what I just showed you. I do my path. I'm exporting using BaseElements, the CSV on the hard drive, right? And I go to the contact table. I set a FileMaker path because this path was for the base element. Remember, I removed the 2 characters here. Then I rebuild the path completely, a FileMaker path, a normal FileMaker path here, right? Like FileWin, desktop, location, and the file name. And then I import the record, right? Import the record, but the file, but the server is doing this, not you, the server. So if I go there, you can see that my file is there. The 500, right, is part now of my list in the documents. So the file is there, right? So now, what I want to do, right? So let's delete this completely. So I'm going to delete the file. I'm going to remove the file from the here, and I'm removing the file from FileMaker. I'm going to redo it completely. What you want to do, you don't want, when you do this, when you have the file here and you put this here, and you want to import the record, you don't want to leave the file you exported, right? And then you import the record. You want to remove the file from the you want to remove the file from the hard drive. When the import is done, you don't want this CSV file in your hard drive on the server. Just add this delete file. So the file you exported, you import the record and you delete the CSV file from the server. So do it again. Okay. So that's my files, my records, right? And if I go to my folder, is not there. That means it was on the server hard drive just for the time being of importing the records, right? Just this. So I went to the container. I went to the record where I have the container here. I export the CSV on the hard drive, and then I import the record from that CSV, and then I delete the CSV because I don't need it anymore. But the file is still in FileMaker in the container. I still have it. That means that why I'm doing this. So I know that for that file, I imported 500 records. They're here. Okay. Right? They're here. That the 500 records that are importing with this CVS, the CSV, CSV. Okay. So if I create a new file, like 200 contacts, 250, and I'm doing this again. So now here I have only 250. And here I have my 500. So I can tie the record imported with the file that belongs to those records. So why I'm doing this, most of the time I'm doing this, I keep the CSV in a container. I keep it, right? Why? Because now, if I go to my contact table, you can see here I have 1,200 and 1,250 records, but here, right, I have an ID. This is the ID of the file. So this is the ID of the record where belongs this container. So I can go there and I say, okay, show me those records that I imported with that record there. They're here, 500 record here. If I go there and say, okay, show me the 250 record imported with that file, they are here. So that means if tomorrow somebody do something like this and you say, okay, delete the 1250, gone. I say, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done this. Okay. You click here, you re-import your records like this. Click here, you re-import your records, right? Like this, boom. Right? And now if I go to my contact table, they're there, they're still there, It's missing 500 because that was from the old one that I deleted, but they are back to the 500 and the 250, which is 750, right? So you can use that as a backup system, let's say, when you insert, you import a record from that CSV file, and then you can retrieve them.
People were impressed at how fast it was and discussing that the version that you're doing is way easier than what they were doing previously. So, but no questions at the moment.
Yeah, it's very easy. I mean, nothing complicated. I mean, I'm doing nothing here. I just set some variable with a very I like this technique because you see what happened, right? You set this, then you set this, and then this, use those two to set something, so you can see what happened, right? Right, and then you import. It's very simple. You can do the same with generating a PDF. You generate a PDF, and then you insert a PDF in a container directly. Boom, right? So I'm using that a lot. Instead of generating PDF locally on your computer, which is complicated. So now, if we don't have any question, remember I use the callback, right? I use the callback here. So let's make something. Let's import more. Let's build it. I didn't have time to do that. So export this, the 500 again, and new, and let's import this with 500 again. So now I have 1,750 records here, right? I want to export those records, right, in a CSV, right? This is 1,700 contacts, okay? I want to export those, so all of this, but not this, just this, right? So I want to export this, but I think It's a name first, then the address, then like this. Okay, so this is what I want. So I export this, okay, on my hard drive. So there should be somewhere. Where did I here? Why it doesn't come? I want here. Okay. Okay. So I want to import, or it was there. Hidden. So I want to import those 1750 records, right? But that will take some time, even on server. Like I said, I imported 17 million records recently. It took 98 minutes, right? So I want something that tells me that this done, that the server is done. You know, I want something that tells me that it's done. Okay. So I want to do that. You know, I want to do this. I want to import those 1700 records. And when it's done, I want the server to tell me it's done. So I'm using the callback. Okay. I want to know it's done, and I want to see those records. Okay. So I'm using this here, which says perform script on server with callback. So what a callback is just that you perform a script on server, and then when the script is done, you have a callback script. That means when this one's done, it will run another script to do something at the end. So pretty much, because if you do perform script on server and you do off, if you do on, your computer is frozen until it's done. So if I do that, if I use that technique and it takes 98 minutes to import records, I will have a spinning wheel, right, for 98 minutes. That means your computer is, you know, unusable until this is done. But if I do this, I have no way to know when it's done. I have no way, and I need to go to the console of the server and check if my script is done or not. That's why FileMaker did the callback. That means the perform scripts here, it's like if you click off the waiting stuff, you know, it's like this. Click off, right? It's the same. You have the same advantage, but at the end, it will run something. And what do I want to do? I want to say, okay, show me a dialog. They're saying that import contact successful, right? And then show me, right? In a new window, show me the record that are imported. Okay. That's why here, the variable here, it's a global variable. Why? So demonstration, I hope it will be fast enough. When I perform this, I can continue to work, right? So this cannot be a local global, a local variable. Why? Because this script will be gone. So if this script here will be gone, this script will just say performance on server, and when it's done, call back. But this script will be over. If this is a local variable with $1, I won't have this information anymore in here. It won't be there. So the callback, when this script will start, I have nothing to look for. To show me the record, I export it with that ID. Okay? Demonstration. So I'm going to debug that script to show you how it works. So let's debug it. I get the global variable with the ID of the file, right? This DBO, DBO, DB0, B, that's the right one, right? And then I ask the server, do the job for me. That is so fast. And it's done. 1750 record. It's done. And then you have the callback after that on callback scripts that says, okay, the import contact successful. And I say, okay, show me. He created a new window, perform script, oh, he didn't do anything. But that's why it was so fast. So why it didn't do anything? Maybe my callback didn't work. Yeah. Contacts, IB. That weird. Because I saw the record, right? Let me see. No, they're not there. He didn't import them. Maybe because it was name, email, address. Okay, this is how it needs to be. The file, the input, this is how I need to export name first, email, address. So that I didn't export the right way. Here. So my 1700 contacts are not exported the right way, so I need to export them differently. Okay, so it was, can put that here. So I need to export those export records in a CSV, 1750 contacts. And name, email, address. Okay. Okay. Okay, we're good. Right?
Yes, we have some questions when you're good to take questions.
Yeah. But I know why it didn't work. It's because those have the header and this one doesn't.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why it didn't work. Let me delete this. Yeah, because FileMaker doesn't export headers on CSV files. Okay, so let me try again. No, it didn't work. It didn't work because I don't have the header. I need to check. Okay, I will do, or I will duplicate just for the demo. I'm going to change this. Okay, so I'm going to this one. I don't have the field name. So name, email, address, postal, and country. Okay, so we're good. I'm going to remove this. Okay, data. Okay, so let's do. No, it didn't work. I don't know why it doesn't work, but it doesn't like the file I export. I don't know why. Anyway, it's because I export the file. I don't know. Anyway, so let's go with the question.
The question is, let's do the first one. Does the import script step have the fields mapped to put the name in the name and the phone in the phone?
Yeah, so you need to map it. You need to do it. So I'm going to explain how you do that, or how you can build this imports like this, So you need to, because you need to have a sample file. You need to have the same file as you're going to import in your server, and you do it locally. You do this, you add a file locally, right? Like this one. You'd say, okay, they have a field name, and then you map it, right? You map it, or yeah, use that the field name. This one. Okay. So you say, okay, this one will go with name, this one go with, oh, I'm not in the right table. So name, email, address, postal, and you do this. So you map it with a file local on your computer, right? So now it's mapped, okay? But now that is mapped, you remove this and you put path instead. Because otherwise you will look for that file that is not on the server. So the path will be decided on the server. But for the mapping, you need to do this. You need to map locally to create this, right? But now he said specify when script runs. But this is there, okay? So the map is done. It doesn't know what yet, right? So the mapping is not automatic. I wish it will, but it's not. Proof of it, I don't know why it doesn't want to export that file. But anyway, when you have a CSV like this generated with Excel, it works. So I don't know, maybe it doesn't like this one. But you need to do that. You need to map your script step like you were on the hard drive locally, and then you remove the path here, the path to the file. You remove it, right, and you put path instead, right, and then, right, it will import depending on this, right?
Yep, I think that tracks.
So the code.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Lynn says that if you export as a .mer file, you'll get the column names included.
MER.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean MER? If I export,
I don't recognize the file type, but that's just what Lynn is saying.
export MER. This one?
Merge? I assume so. It's the only one that would track.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, but it's not the common most of the time, unfortunately, I'm using comma separated values. Or can we use this and then change it as CSV? I don't know. Yeah. This you get the name on this, but here in those two you don't. And most of my people, they use the CSV file and have no headers. But I have a way to build a header. Anyway, most of the time people want the headers, custom headers. They don't want the file. They don't want the field name as a header, especially when you have a file that you export related records, right? When you export related data, you have the field the full path, with the table name, semicolons, column, and then the field name. So it's a big mess. So they want custom name for the header. So we have a technique for that. Maybe if you're interested on this, I can do I will do that. Yeah, most of the people I can do a webinar like this, how to create we have a webinar, custom exports, custom report, something like I did that once, but I can do it again.
Always good to recap stuff, especially as we got people that
Yeah, so I will send to you a description on this. This is it's at least 3 days worth of webinar because it's not easy. I mean, no, if you want to build something like this, you want to be able to create, you want a system that you can create headers, right? Column names on the fly for different type of reports, not just for one, right? And you don't want to have if you have 20 or 30 different reports, you don't want 30 different scripts. You want one script that runs, right? And you save as Excel, for example, right? And you don't want to have you want to go to a different layout, but you don't want to go to you don't want to have different scripts. You want one script that goes to a layout and save as Excel right? Maybe I can do that because most of the people. Do you know the difference between export records? Do you know the difference between export records like this and use this? You know, this. You know, this or this.
No.
What's the difference
Wait,
between this and
that's
this?
even I didn't even know that I didn't even know that second option existed. So no, I have no
Yeah.
idea what the difference between them.
So yeah, this is interesting because here I'm exporting record on Excel, and this I'm saving the record as Excel, right? So I can the difference between two, that could be an interesting webinar. I'm going to because this is good, this is cool, but this is even better. But this has a problem when it comes to to this. When it comes to this, use field name as a column names, right? So this always be a problem with FileMaker, always, right? So yeah, I can combine both, right, and show you how you can build exports, export, save records as Excel. So that means create multiple reports with one script. And you have a limited number of different reports without doing a bunch of set fields and I can show you. This is maybe 4 or 5 days worth. It's a big endeavor. It should. That's why when the boss said sometimes I hate FileMaker, you say yeah, for that I hate FileMaker because it's it's not making sense to have something that complicated to build something like this.
Yes.
How many of you are interested in I know
There's a lot of people saying they're buzz for this. Yeah, so there's a lot of interest.
Okay, so you buzz on this. Okay, yeah, we we do some polls like that sometime too, and I can combine the header with the save as Excel, which goes together pretty much, because you don't need the header, the first row, you don't need that if you don't export as Excel. It doesn't, so you need to I'm going to combine both of them together. So that will be 2 weeks worth of webinar at least.
Cool. With that being said, you got 2 questions to tackle before I let you go.
Okay, yeah, let's go.
What are the specs in the server to get such a performance, or is it just because it's not invoking the UI that makes it so fast?
Okay, so that's a good question. So I want to take my time to answer that question. So can we go to the second one, and then I'm going to answer this one after the.
Yes. PSauce with callback could be performed from SASE.
No, the callback works only. For example, let's say you have this situation where you perform script on server, we call back, right? And then the thing lasts like this script here lasts like 98 minutes, right? Like my 70 million. And then when you launch this, 5 minutes later, you quit FileMaker. You quit your FileMaker, go, bye. You quit it, boom. Well, the script on servers keep going, but when it's done, after 98 minutes, when it's done, and ask and look for the callback, he said, no callback. I mean, it's impossible. He's not going to perform the callback because you quit, you gone from your file, right? So the callback is ignored, but the script on server is still running. You understand? Oh no, this is not user host version. You understand what I mean? So now so the callback, I will do a session on the callback as well. The callback is somewhat weird, let's say. Who of you is using callback and who wants a callback session?
I think that would be good. We haven't really talked about it on stream, to be honest. I think we talked about it once.
Yeah, I remember the boss did. a presentation, like a basic presentation on the.
Yeah.
But the callback can be tricky because I know many people are struggling with the concepts,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah,
so
people
yeah, we can
maybe
I can do
send that as a
yeah.
session.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So let me answer the other question. The server I have here, it's not my server, it's a server of a customer of mine. And it's a kick server. It's a 2,500 per month server. So just for an example, when I'm doing the imports, those 17 million records, it takes 98 minutes on the server to do that. And I don't go over 0.75% of CPU usage. So I repeat, I don't exceed 0.75% or even 1% of the server is used, right? So, but that will be a server that will be used by 300 people, with tables with 250 million records and stuff like that. So when you go to that extreme, unfortunately, you have the server is not the spot where you can do economy, where you can save money. You can't. You can't save money on this. It's like, okay, I want to go and do a Formula One, race, but I want to save money on the engine. You won't even finish the race. So you can't save money there. So you understand? So it's the same thing. So yes, so if you have, like I said a long time ago in 2016, when we start this serial webinar, we call that lean design. I talk about this. I talk about the numbers is what drives the decision. So, for example, the numbers of records. So if you have 1,000 records, it's not the same thing as having 100 million records. When you have 10 users, it's not the same thing of having 300 users, right? So the numbers is driving the decision. So it's a decision. The decision maker is a number. So when you have a lot of records and a lot of users, and then you have complex interaction, like a lot of imports, in that case, imports doesn't really care about the CPU. Proof of it, I just told you. When you import records, it's not using the CPU of the server. That's why I have 0.75% of the CPU usage, but because I'm not using the CPU. Import is using the IOs of the hard drive. So the in and out of the hard drive. So if you have a slow hard drive on your server, if you import records, that will be slow to death, So, but that is something Jacob can talk better. But it makes sense. Hard drive is what is necessary to have a very performance imports. Import exports that hard drive problems, not CPU. The CPU it needs for this, right? For the calcs, that needs a CPU, right? It needs a CPU and to handle the users, the level of users, and the memory. The memory is more important for the user. More user you have, more memory you have, better is, which makes sense because the server will have much more tasks to do because you have much more people, like if you have 10 people creating, deleting, sorting, stuff like this, it's not the same thing if you have 300 people doing this. So the server will have to stack all those, and of course, if you have a lot of in-outs, if you have a lot of IOs in-out on the hard drive, and you on your server, and you are on this basic Amazon server with these credits and the CPU credits. And if you enter this, so that's why this server is on the heavy load machines, right? So, but it's more expensive, but it's necessary. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's we're good. So cool.
Okay, so I'm going to give you this.
Yes. Send me the
Yeah,
file.
so I need to bring back the container in,
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise you will have the file without anything on the container. That was for the demo of the get container attribute, the file name, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I can get it back. So I can give you those two, those stuff, and but this one I'm going to remove it. It doesn't work. Okay, so if we're good to go, I'm going to give you this file and can play with it.
Think we're good. Thank you very much, everyone. Y'all have a lovely day.
Okay, so see you in 2 weeks.
Yes, see you in 2 weeks, Nick. I think you're doing advanced relationships in 2 weeks. So
yeah, that will be interesting too.
that'll be fun. Have a good one, everybody. Definitely tune in tomorrow for Shenaniganery. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
No.